So we're ready to move on, and all of the decals had a really nice chance to dry, and the setting solution really wrapped them and really made them almost one with the model. Hopefully you can see all the, it's subtle. I love the way the reflective chrome paint is just enough to make it look like she's on screen, where the decals just kind of tone it down. You can see the bridge area and all the windows. And we've got the impulse engines and the impulse crystals, the sensor dome. So this is all set now. What we're going to do is we're going to put this aside with the nacelles, and when the time comes, we're going to be able to put everything together. But what we're going to work on today, what we need to do today is the secondary hull, and that's really the last section remaining. So we're going to do the secondary hull. And one thing that I noticed that was pretty cool, it doesn't come with a stand, but there is a hole on the bottom that would support the model. So what I was thinking was, I was wondering if the Polar Lights model or the base would fit. So I had an extra one from my 1/1000 Enterprise, and it just doesn't fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up just a bit so we can actually use the base, because there's no base for it. And we have the bottom, the Polar Lights kind of base with the support rod. So let's get all the pieces out. We've got the bottom of the ship. We've got the shuttle bay, and we have the saucer pylon. So I think that's it. And like I was telling you guys, this will really bring it together, because we've done the nacelles, we did the saucer pylon. This is going to kind of bring everything together. And the last thing we're going to do, after this is all done, we'll do the final assembly. So you can see the decals that are going to go on the secondary hull. Alright, first thing is I want to address the stand. So let's open up the base. And those of you familiar with Polar Lights, you're fully aware of the metal support rod with the dome base. And this one has the little ball and socket where you can put the ship at different angles, but I don't usually use those. Alright, let's put that aside. So let me find a drill bit that can actually work. See, I don't want to push my luck. See, just enough to get this in. Just enough. So what we got to do now is I want to think about drilling out the windows. And all the small ones we'll use the pin vise for, and then the larger ones we'll use the drill, because they're kind of almost like a rectangular shape to them. But because I don't have, I tried to use the drill to make the rectangular shape to go from side to side, but it ended up breaking. So I think this will look pretty decent. Let me make sure I get them all. Hopefully you can see the larger windows. Okay, so there are 3 of those going towards the back. You can see the nacelle pylon area. And I'll light it up for you in a minute. show you guys my vision. Hopefully you guys can see those. Yeah, that's better. Just like that. Alright, so let's, for the larger ones, now we'll use the drill. Start with this one. Again, I want to be very careful about drilling these. And these two in the end are going to be with the pin vise. Yeah, I should have probably went with a smaller drill bit for the larger windows, but you know what? It's done now. I already did it, so I'm going to have to live with those. Yeah. Alright, so that side is all set. And let's do this side. We'll do the same thing. We'll do one with the pin vise. And we'll do one with the drill. Yeah, and those are the windows for the secondary hull, the basic section anyway. You see the underneath, and I think we can do now is there are 4 on the bottom that illuminate the nacelle pylon, but you know what? I think I don't know how we're gonna be able to. Maybe we'll bring one out on either side, and we'll do like we did on the top of the primary hull. Alright, I think we're going to do the same thing for the neck section, because this is a lot thicker. So let's start by doing the one on top. That's a lot better. There, that looks good. You can see all the windows. You can actually, yeah, it's going to go this way. You can actually see a docking port over there. So let's do the same thing with the other side, and we can actually start to think about putting start gluing pieces together. There. I think that's all of them. Yep. Looks pretty cool. And I like to use a toothpick to apply the glue. So the first thing we're going to glue on is we're going to do the shuttle bay area. So we're going to do that. So it's going to be held in place with this support bottom. So I'm going to put this in position. We're not going to glue this because we're going to need access to the wires. All right. See how the seams are going to go together. I'm going to hold that for a minute, and then we'll be able to take the bottom off again. You can see how the section is, but now we know it'll fit into place, just like that. When it comes to the back, I didn't really see, like on the original Enterprise or the Constitution class, you can see there was always like a light in the observation deck that was over the doors for the shuttle bays, but I don't really see one on the Titan. So we're going to go ahead and we're not going to put any lights over there because there aren't any. All right, so that looks good. So we're going to put that aside. And we can think about gluing this section together. Let me show you how it's going to go. It's going to go like that. And there are pins, and there are little holes where the pins are going to go in. So let's go ahead and we're going to clamp it. Again, I love these little clamps. They help out a lot. There. And if there are any light leaks, we'll go ahead and we'll fix it. So let's get this all ready. And you can see we're going to clip it. See how cool that looks. All right, I want to make sure that this is going to stay in place. You can see there's a lip on the inside. There. Go all the way around and make sure that it's in place. We gotta make sure that hopefully, let me put the light on. Hopefully you guys can see how it's, and there's gonna be an issue because of the stand. That little pole for the stand is gonna be right in front of it. So we're gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna have to put a small light in front of that to illuminate the deflector dish. All right, that's all set. So why don't we think about gluing this section on to the secondary hull. It's starting to look pretty cool. Yeah. All right, so we got the deflector dish in place, we got the saucer pylon on, we have the shuttle bay on, and it's going to be all set when we put this into position. What we got to do now is we got to think about the wiring. So let's put it on the stand. So the way I see it, we're going to illuminate the saucer pylon, the nacelle pylon. So we're going to have 1, 2, and we're going to do 1 light on either side. So that for the outside of the ship, for the lighting areas, is going to be 4. For the inner part, we're going to have a light running to illuminate the saucer pylon itself, the deflector dish, and the body. So we're looking at, let's see, for the small outside lights, we're going to need 4. For the inner lights, we're going to need 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4. You see how it's going to kind of look? The problem is with that thing that's in the way for the stand and the deflector dish. Alright. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a smaller light that we're going to run into the F. So when it comes to the smaller lights, we're going to use the small ones, the SMDs, and let's see how small that is. So what we're going to have to do is I'm going to have to drill in the holes on the side of the saucer pylon, and we're going to run the wires and feed them through so we can actually access everything. Yeah. And we're going to run the wires through. See how we got the wires that came through? So we're just going to make sure that it's going to be facing up towards the secondary hull, the saucer pylon. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. You can see the way they're going to come on the bottom. It'll be all set so we can solder them. And those are going to go to the main bulbs. So let me go ahead and we're going to put the leads together. So those are going to be for the saucer pylon. So when it comes to lighting the outside of the ship, we're going to do the same thing. There's going to be one that's going to come out the bottom, and that's actually going to light the nacelle pylon, and this is such a small area. So let's, again, we're going to go with the bottom, right about there. This, again, we want it to be facing up towards the nacelle pylon. So the main thing right now is that we get everything nice, we get the lights in position, and then we can worry about permanently gluing the bulbs in place and facing the right areas where we want it to be facing. So let's get this after everything's all set. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bring all the wires together for the positives and the negative leads. Alright, so we have 4 of them that are ready, and I think we're going to use an SMD also. We're actually going to put it into the saucer pylon. That way there, when a wire comes through from the saucer section, it won't interfere. So let's see if we can go ahead and hot glue this into place. See how that looks? That looks pretty good. And we're going to run this down through like this, and we're going to super glue this into place. So just like that. And again, the wires that are going to illuminate the inside of the saucer pylon, we can go ahead and we can think about bringing everything together now. So we've got one bulb on the port and on starboard that's going to illuminate the nacelle pylons. We've got a bulb on port and starboard that's going to illuminate the saucer pylon. We've got one bulb inside that's going to light up the windows, and we have these bulbs that are going to actually light up the deflector dish, and the windows. Alright, let me show you guys. We got the lead soldered. Alright, so hopefully you guys can see that. So if we did everything right, what we'll do is we'll hook it up to the power supply and it should work. Never take anything for granted. Always test everything. When we throw the switch, all the lights will work. So we got the lights, and don't worry about that light leak because the saucer is going to cover that. We got the lights for the nacelle pylons, and again we'll angle them up. We got the inside with the deflector dishes. We have the nacelle saucer pylons. We got the inside lights. They're all lit up. So what I want to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put some liquid tape on. And that'll keep the wires from touching and shorting out. This stuff is awesome. Instead of using actual electrical tape and then you got to worry about at some point if it doesn't stick or it's not going to stay in place. So the way it's going to look, guys. So let's start getting all these cut out. And you see these are going to go on top around the saucer pylon or dorsal hull. Alright, when it comes to this is going to go on the bottom. This one will be pretty easy. This is going to go right where the shuttle bay area is. All of the decals are all set to go. And now we'll check to see if when this is dry. Okay, so the liquid tape had some time to dry, and I really wanted to give it a long time because it gets really sticky and can make quite a mess. Alright, what we're going to do now, we're going to hot glue the wires into position. So I'm going to take the lights. There. Hopefully you guys can see that. And we're going to have, I drilled a hole over there, and that's where the wire is going to actually come out from the bottom. So I think we're going to start from the top down. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the sides. And so let's turn her around, and you can see they're going to go right there. And the next one, it goes over there. It goes in the back section. You can tell because of the airlock or the docking port. These come off nice and Nice and smooth. I'll show it to you in a minute. The way you know you got it right is the little docking bay door is supposed to line up with the model. And again, it's not glaring, it's just enough to know that there's Aztecing there, and it tones down the shine and makes it look more accurate to what's on screen. Alright, now let's do this section. There. Looks pretty cool, so why don't we go ahead and we'll do the same thing for the other side. We'll do it for the starboard side. So we'll start with the saucer pylon. And like I was telling you, the line, we can probably go ahead and put this one on because that one's going right there. But it's this one we won't be able to put on until we put the primary hull on. Yeah, alright, let's get that nice and wet. See that? That looks really wild. And the back section is a little bit loose, so we'll have to be careful with that, and then we'll really solidify it when we actually glue everything into place. It's gonna go like that. Hopefully you guys can see the opening for the nacelle. So let's do this one first. There we are. So these are the sections that need to go on when we put the bottom area on. So why don't we go ahead, and I'm going to put all these aside for now, so we can put these on when we do the final assembly. There's some that are going to go on the bottom, so we'll hold off on that. But you can see the registry markings with the Delta logo. Let's see. That will be these. So these are going to go on. Okay, now what are these? 13. So 13s, we've got the ports, the docking ports. So we're going to do these, and they go on either side of the dorsal. Let's go ahead and put the side registry. I mean, this is iconic, going all the way back to the Enterprise NCC-801. And this actually becomes the Enterprise G, under the command of Captain 7. Love it. Yeah, that looks pretty wild. That looks good. All right, so that's it. So for the decals, the wallpaper, the Aztecing, and then we put the registry markings on either side. We put the docking ports on, and the rest we're going to address when we do the bottom. So that's going to go on the bottom. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to put some micro sol and some micro set on. Okay, so this is what we did. We put the sides together of the dorsal hull, or the primary hull, pylon, and then we drilled out all the windows. And you can see the areas where we put the decals on. So what we did was we lit the inside where the windows we drilled out. We lit the pylon of the primary hull, and we're going to light the saucer, the nacelle pylons as well. And you can see we put the decals on in the back, the Titan. We've got the dorsal stripe going down the back, and we've got the windows. We got the inside lit. And I know, guys, I should have used a smaller drill, but it's finished, and you know, you learn from my mistakes. Again, we're going to light the pylon of the nacelles coming around. We got the deflector dish lit, and we'll take care of that. There's a little bit of light leak on the inside, but all we're going to do is we're going to put some putty. And what we'll do is we'll fill it in and paint it. That'll be pretty quick. You can see the deflector dish is lit up, and we got the lights on either side, and coming back around to port. And let me show you guys what I actually did on the inside of the ship. When it came to the wiring, we put the SMDs. Let's see, we used one for the inside of the neck, one on either side, and we lit the nacelle pylon. So we got 5 of the SMDs, and we have 2 of the LEDs. And we wired them together, we soldered them, we put the liquid tape on, and then we hot glued them into place. And we're gonna be ready to put the final piece. The next video, we're gonna be doing the final assembly. We're actually gonna glue the nacelles on, we're gonna glue the primary hull on, and that's when we're gonna put all the finishing touches, like this section. We'll put this on, we'll glue it into place on the bottom, and we'll put the last of the decals, and then we'll get it ready for the clear coat. But she's really starting to take shape now, and in my next video, when we put the final assembly, you guys are really going to see it's really going to start to come together and be the absolutely beautiful U.S.S. Titan. So my friends, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the kind words and all the support. And until my next video in this build, my friends, I'll talk to you soon.